Welcome to video 1 of tapping for travel professionals. We're going to go a little bit into what tapping is right now. After that, we're going to go into the how to tap on the two variations that I spoke about, the popular one and then the one where you don't touch the face. And then in video 2, we're going to go into some rounds that actually focus on tapping specifically designed to relieve the anxiety around doing videos. Now, if you tap now and you're familiar with tapping, you can go straight to video 2 and just avoid this whole video because this is all the background to it that you probably already know. But if you aren't familiar with tapping, or maybe you've kind of dabbled in it and you want to stick around a bit and learn more and go through the basic tapping rounds, then stick around for a few minutes and I'll fill you in before we go to our second video. Right, let's get started. What is tapping? Tapping is also known, by the way, as EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And it's actually a powerful healing technique that's based on the principles of Chinese acupressure and modern psychology. It is literally movements where you tap on specific areas of your body, and it engages the mind and the body connection based on the concepts that your physical and mental well-being is very closely linked to your emotional state. I've mentioned the meridian points. These are energy lines in your body. The end points of the meridians really are everywhere in your body, and they're the same ones that you use in acupuncture. And they are points of conductivity, really, so that when you actually physically tap on them, you're actually sending an electrical signal, if you will, to the brain and the body. When we're stressed, when we're nervous, when we're anxious, the amygdala in our brain, that really primitive part of our brain, kicks in with the flight, fight, or freeze sensation. So the physical act of tapping is what sends the message to the amygdala to calm down that stress level, calm down that anxiety, and make you feel like you're more in control. So you're really kind of, rewiring your brain to get you back to a place of well-being and calmness. Now we get on to the effective part. It's actually been researched and proven that these points being tapped on does bring your body and your mind back to a nice balance of energy. So when you have something that's really simple, easy to do, and effective, why not try it? I think for me, when I first started tapping many years ago, I had this fear of making a mistake. It's just one of those things I've carried for a long time. So after I started, I realized you really can't make a mistake. It doesn't matter if you leave one of the spots out and you jump to one that you missed or whatever. It doesn't matter. You can't make a mistake. So from that aspect right there, in terms of learning tapping, you don't have to worry about making a mistake because you can't. As long as you're tapping, you're going to be fine. So what I want to do now is take you into the two different styles of tapping and the methodology we follow when we do tapping rounds. I'll see you in a minute. Here we are with 6 simple steps to tapping, and I always recommend that you make tapping a daily practice. It doesn't take up a lot of time, as you will find out. And even if you have a quick moment of anxiety, you can do a little bit of tapping just on your own, even if it's just for 30 seconds to a minute, and you're going to find a difference at the end of it. So what I have here is my infographic, and I've included it as a download below these videos, so you can download it and print off a copy for yourself. And there's also a download there of the EFT tapping points on the body that you can download and keep as a reference point. I'm just going to go through those with you right now. So the first step of 6 is you start off by, connecting mind and body. Rating your feelings. How do you feel right now? How intense is it? And you rate it from a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being like you're really nervous, maybe you're sweating, or your stomach is pitching, or your mind has gone blank, or any one of a number of anxiety reactions that you might have. So that would be a 10. A 0 is, of course, you're very calm, you feel comfortable, you're fine. So just make a note of it before you start tapping, because we're going to then take a look back at the end of it and see how you fare. So just write it down or remember it. Scale of 0 to 10. Second step is breathe. Take a nice calming breath in and out. And what we do right now is we start to acknowledge how we're feeling. We really tune into and give attention to the feelings we have, the awareness. And we move, what we'll be doing is talking about and relating to the negatives. And at a certain point in the tapping rounds, we're going to turn it around and we're going to use some positive statements that start to rewire your brain. That's a little bit later, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how we're going through this. The third step is acknowledging these negative emotions. And what you do is you tap on the karate chop point of your hand. I'm going to demonstrate this shortly, but you'll see the X's in this picture on the knife edge of your hand, and that's your karate chop point. So you can use 2 or 3 fingers to repeatedly tap on this karate chop point. And then we have what we call our setup statement, and we repeat this 3 times, and it usually starts off with words such as, even though I feel really anxious right now, I accept myself and how I feel. And you keep tapping on that karate point and you repeat it again 2 more times. And then the fourth step is we actually go into the tapping rounds. The first set of rounds is acknowledging and saying either out loud or to yourself one thing about how you feel as you tap about 5 to 7 times on one of the meridian points as we go around. And you'll see a demo of that shortly. So you continue tapping on each point, expressing how you feel, and be totally honest. Just bring it out and say exactly how you feel. Notice what's happening in your body. Really feel it. And tap, keep going rounds until you've said everything you need to say. And once you've done that, we'll go into round 2, which is introducing those positive statements like, what if? What if? It gets the possibilities out there for you as you keep tapping on each different point. And again, we tap until you have exhausted all the possibilities. Step 5, breathe. Take another calming breath in and out. Connect again with your body and notice how you feel. Reflect back on how you felt about this issue before you started tapping, and then finally rate your feelings at the end of the tapping session. Rating the intensity again from 0 to 10, 10 being really, really anxious and 0 being very calm. And any shift you have towards 0 is a good thing. You're moving in the right direction. But if the intensity is still higher than you would like, you may choose to repeat that tapping and go through it all again, either now or later. You may also find, just as a little side note, as you go through the tapping process, some people say that they have this big release breath at some point during the tapping. That's fine. That's a good point because it's working. Some other people report that they actually yawn. So that kind of tells you you're calming down. So I just thought I'd share that with you. And I look forward to going through our demonstrations. Okay, so let's get started with the popular way, just to show you the points. First of all, when we do the first step about recording how we feel, then we take a nice deep breath and we do our statements, our 3 statements, tapping on the karate chop point of our hand. And it's not really hard. You don't want to hurt yourself, but it's not so soft you can't feel it. So it's just a nice tap with 2 or 3 fingers on the karate point. And then when we're going through this popular round 1, we're going to start the eyebrow. So it's right where the eyebrow kind of meets the top of your nose. And you do it maybe 7 times, a little bit more if you want to, that's fine. And we'll be repeating certain statements, certain words, certain emotions. And I'll instruct you when we go through the actual practical example. I'll be telling you what to do, but you can either say them quietly to yourself or you can say them out loud. But it's eyebrow, side eye or side of the eye, which is the bone right at your temple, under the eye, which is that bone right under the eye. And then you go under the nose, that little spot under the nose and above your lip. And then we either call it under the lip or chin, and it's that little groove right under your lip and just above your chin. And you hit that about 5 times. Then we move down to our collarbone. Now to find that, as I mentioned before, if you trace your collarbones right into the center, there is a little dip right in here. And if you go down, I was saying about 3 inches or so, and then 3 inches over, just start pushing around until you find a bit of a tender spot, either side. Okay, and then that is your collarbone spot. And you can hit that with 2 fingers like you did the other areas, 3 fingers, or all 4. I guarantee if you use 4, you're going to hit it. So you're good. And then the next spot is under the arm. So you can either do the monkey version like this. And ladies, it's easy. It's where your bra band is. Gentlemen, it's about 4 or 5 inches under the armpit. And you tap that 5 to 7 times. If you don't like doing the monkey version, you can reach across and you can tap this way. That works too. Either way is fine. And by the way, you can do left or right-handed. It doesn't matter. And then the last one is here on the top of your head. So you can just kind of do it right in the center. You can do a little circle. You could do whatever your little heart desires because, again, you can't make a mistake with tapping. The most important thing is that you just keep tapping because every time you hit those meridian points, it's sending a signal to your brain to calm down. Everything's okay. Now, that was 1 round, and we just keep doing rounds as we tie in some of those comments until we pretty much exhaust the negative rounds. Then we flip into the positive rounds where we open up the possibilities. After we do that, then we breathe again, and then we rate our intensity again from 0 to 10. The next demonstration is just going to focus on other tapping points other than the face area. So we'll see you back shortly. Now we're going to move on to the EFT tapping points which do not involve the face. So we basically start with, we could start after we do our karate chop point and we talk about acknowledging and accepting how we feel. We move into the tapping round. We can start at the top of the head. We can start anywhere. So I'm just going to take you through the rounds of what we might do. Say if we start at the top of the head, when we move to the little fingers, again, it's where the nail meets the flesh of your finger. So it's really easy. You just tap there. Ring finger, middle finger, index finger, and your thumb. And on the back of your hand, you'll see what's called a gamut point. And again, it's located in that sort of fleshy area between the bones of your baby finger and your ring finger, down maybe 1.5 inches. And again, if you push in there, there's a bit of a tender spot. But if you use 2 or 3 fingers there, you're going to hit it. This is one of my favorite points. That's the gamut point. And then we can move on to our collarbone. Again, we can use one side, the other side, both sides. Can't go wrong. Under the arm. And then back to the top of the head. And we just keep doing those rounds the same way. So we never touch our face, which is nice during this pandemic time that we have. Or maybe, there are people who don't want to touch their face for whatever reason. So this is a great alternative for that. One thing I want to mention too is, I think I forgot to mention on the first one, but if you have issues bending your arm to do the underarm move, maybe there's something in your shoulder doesn't work, or there's a problem reaching over, leave it out. Just spend more time on the collarbone or more time at the top of the head. It really doesn't matter if you leave something out. Again, can't go wrong. So thanks for joining me on that. We'll see you shortly. Now, here's the full PDF that I have here as a download for you. So you can download it and print it and keep it as a nice reference point. and refer to it whenever you can. But I guarantee you, you're going to be fine with this because, as we go through each of the exercises or each of the rounds, I'm going to be telling you which point to be tapping. So you can just follow along. It's going to be real easy, real simple. All right, time to move on to video 2, where we're going to actually go through the process of tapping to help reduce the anxiety around doing video. I'll see you there.